By what name are you known?
There are some who call me Tim.
Welcome to another episode of Timmy Talks, the channel where we talk old school magic. And today we are back in Roosendaal, the Netherlands, for more action from the Dutch Open. And at this X Points tournament, we are of course playing according to the X Points rules. What a surprise. Remember, it means that you can only spend 10 points on cards with points allocated to them. Here you can see the overview of the cards that have a point system. And this, of course, this whole format was invented by Louis. And the cool thing about the Dutch Open is that it's organized by Louis. So it's organized by the founder. So everybody who cares for X Points has to go here at least once in their lifetime, right? I think this is kind of the holy grail for X Points players. And so we are here today, and of course I was playing in the tournament as well. As a matter of fact, you're going to see my deck in action today in this video, and I was playing a theme deck that was called For Icatia, and it's completely Fallen Empires, and I had so much fun playing with it. Was it good? Well, it actually wasn't that bad, but you're going to see the deck in action in this video, and I'm playing against John, and John is playing a traditional White Weenie deck. So we're both playing with two mono white decks, but we have slightly different strategies and of course a lot of different cards, because again, I'm only playing with Fallen Empires, where my opponent John, he's playing, with all the heavy hitters. He's got Serra Angels, he's got swords, disenchants, land taxes. I mean, he's got the stuff, but more about that in the deck tech section of this video. But before I dive into the deck techs, first a message from our sponsor, 3for1 Trading. 3for1 Trading is one of Europe's leading Magic the Gathering retailers. Their online shop has a fantastic selection of high-end Magic cards, especially for vintage, legacy, and yes, old school Magic players. They now exclusively offer my community free, fully insured and fast worldwide shipping on all their high-end singles, full sets, and out-of-print sealed products. They upload new cards every Wednesday and have weekly sale offers and reductions waiting just for you. Use my code TIMMY to get free worldwide shipping on your first order over $500 or euros. Have fun ordering those cards, and thank you 3for1 Trading for sponsoring this video. And we are back and ready to dive into the deck techs, and I'm going to start with the player on the left. That is my opponent, Johnny. Let's take a look at his White Weenie deck. And here we see the deck of Johnny. Now, unfortunately, I couldn't get a deck photo, so I only have a few key cards of the White Weenie deck, but I do know that he played White Weenie. I remember it, and I also do know that he played a pretty strong version of White Weenie. And what I always find interesting in these White Weenie decks is, what kind of decisions do you make? Do you, for example, play with a lot of Armageddons or just a one-off Armageddon? Do you play with the land taxes then as well? Do you play with Thunder Spirit or without? Do you play with Preacher or without? Now, I don't know all the cards because, again, I don't have a deck photo, but I do know a few things about his deck. For example, I know he's playing with Army of Allah. So this card from Arabian Nights is an instant and gives all your creatures +2/+0. So this card is really good, of course, if you have a swarm strategy, which you basically have with White Weenie. And it's also really good with creatures with First Strike. So White Knight, Order of Lightbearer are also in his deck. Now he's also playing Crusades. I think Crusade is a card he's probably going to board out after the first game, because I'm also playing mono white, so it's also pumping my army. And then he's also playing with Preacher, and I find that quite interesting. Preacher, a creature from the dark. You can tap it to gain control of target creature of the opponent's choice. So the opponent can choose what creature you're going to give him, which is okay, I guess, but it could be still quite bad for me, because Preacher can just be annoying, especially if I only have a few creatures on the battlefield. Then again, I've got a lot of 1/1s that I can give him, and I'm not too worried about it. I also can kill the Preacher with an AO Pile or an Icatian Javelineers, if I, of course, draw into it. Icatian Javelineers is also a Fallen Empires card in the deck of Johnny. There is a creature that I really fear that he's playing a full playset of, and that is, of course, the very strong, infamous, legendary Serra Angel. So Serra Angel, a 4/4 flyer for 5, that when she attacks doesn't even have to tap. So he can attack, fly over my forces, and then use it as a blocker as well. And the reason I'm saying fly over my forces is that I'm playing Fallen Empires. How many flying creatures are in the Fallen Empires set? I'm going to let you think about this. Exactly, 0. There are no flying creatures in Fallen Empire, so this Serra Angel can be a big problem. Another problem for me could be the Swords to Plowshares. And remember, I'm playing Fallen Empires only, but Johnny isn't, and Swords to Plowshares is, of course, top removal. So again, it's very efficient removal. I guess I've got too many creatures to really worry about a 1-for-1 trade, but still, it's a very good card. A card that I'm kind of jealous of in this deck is Disenchant. I was playing this entire tournament without a way to get rid of enchantments and artifacts. I can tell you, that can really suck, because if your opponent plays out a moat, there's nothing I can do. If your opponent plays out an abyss, there's nothing I can do. Yes, I've got a few pro-black creatures, I guess, so that's positive, Order of Lightbearer. But it's just a big problem. Also, I played against an Underworld Dreams deck where I think with White Weenie, normally you've got a really good chance at winning. The problem is if you're playing White Weenie without Disenchant, you cannot get rid of those Underworld Dreams. So that was really a walk in the park for my opponent. But I guess I'm going too much into my own tournament experiences. Let's first discuss the deck of Johnny a little bit further. Now, I think I remember that he played with Landtax and Armageddon, so I believe those cards are also in the deck. I'm not quite sure if he also played with Thunder Spirit. It does seem to make sense in this deck, because if you're playing Army of Allah and you kind of have that first strike theme going, Thunder Spirit would be a good inclusion in my opinion. Of course, it's a little bit more expensive, so you can already see we're discussing this deck as a White Weenie deck, but we're already slowly going towards more of a white mid-range build, right? Because if he's playing Thunder Spirit, if he's playing Sarah Angel to full playset, if he's playing Preacher, those are all more expensive creatures, and also more mid-game creatures, I guess, than those aggressive normal White Weenie creatures. I do know that he's playing with 4 Savannah Lions. I'm not really worried about Savannah Lions for 2 reasons. It only has 1 toughness, so I can kill it with the Icatian Javelineers. And also, it doesn't have first strike, and a lot of creatures in my deck do have first strike. Talking about that, let's take a look at my deck for Icatia. And here we see my deck, Icatian Infantry, and of course you're thinking, wait, you're now calling it Icatian Infantry? You said for Icatia earlier. Well, I gotta make things complicated. I'm so sorry for that. Actually, my battle cry was for Icatia. So when I would attack with 2 or more creatures or 3 or more creatures, I actually forgot. I would yell for Icatia, and I would make this forward like gesture that you cannot see right now, but it was pretty funny. At least for me. No, I think it was also funny for my opponents. They could get the joke. But of course, this deck is called Icatian Infantry, because basically all the Icatian cards are in here. And I mean, Fallen Empires, it has so much flavor, and I just love looking at this deck. And maybe it's good to just go through a few cards, because you may think, okay, if you're playing White and Fallen Empires only, it's basically just White Weenie. But actually it isn't. This deck is really more a control deck than you would think, and it's because of a few inclusions in the deck that hopefully are going to give me the upper hand later in the game. So I'm playing with, for example, Icatian Town. Icatian Town is a sorcery for 6 mana, so super expensive, but it creates 4 1/1 white citizen tokens. So hopefully this is one of those cards that is going to give me the advantage in the late game. And then I'm also playing, of course, with the legendary Hand of Justice. Hand of Justice is also 6 mana, so super expensive, and it's a summon avatar. It's a 2/6. You can tap the Hand of Justice and tap 3 target white creatures you control, and then it can destroy any target creature. So if I can get my Hand of Justice online, I can start killing away the creatures of my opponent and hopefully win that way. It's one of the few ways that I've got in this deck to get rid of that Sarah Angel that I talked about during Johnny's deck. And then I also have a few cards that are really, really good, that really shine once you've got a lot of mana. So for example, Combat Medic. Combat Medic, 1 white and 2 for an 0/2 creature. I can pay a white and a 1 to prevent 1 damage to any player or creature. Now this may not look at as much. You may think, oh man, what a bad card. But actually, when the board is clogged up, so when you're both going nowhere and you're in turn 11, 12, then this Combat Medic starts to shine because it's so good in, guess what, combat. So in your combat step, you're attacking with everything. Of course, you're keeping your Combat Medic at bay, but you've got a lot of mana to kind of work with. So you can prevent the damage, make sure that your opponent's creature dies in the block, but your creature doesn't. You can kind of get strategical. Talking about getting strategical, this card is also really good in those situations. Icatian Priest. It's a 1/1 for 1 white. So, I mean, early game, it's fine. You can just attack with it. It can just be annoying. But later in the game, you can pay 3 mana to give any creature you want +1/+1. Again, it's really good. So I've got a lot of those cards like Icatian Lieutenant, and trust me, it can get really annoying for the opponent. So at the start of the game, your opponent's thinking, okay, I'm just playing against White Weenie. I just got to make sure I don't die. But later in the game, all these cards, these pump effects, these prevent effects, they're kind of going to suffocate my opponent. So that's kind of the goal. And there's another card I want to show you because you probably don't recognize it when I play it in the game, and that's a card called Zillion Sword. So Zillion Sword is 3 mana for an artifact. It's 3 and tap. Target creature gets +2/+0 as long as the sword remains tapped. So it's kind of one of the first equipments in the game. This card is really good with creatures that have first strike. And guess what? A lot of my creatures have first strike. Yeah, and I guess that's kind of the deck in a nutshell. I'm sure there's still a lot of cards in there that you don't recognize at once. For example, maybe the basic lands. You're thinking, what kind of basics is he playing with? Well, I actually asked Louis for permission if I could play with proxy basic planes because there is an American who came with a special art for the Fallen Empire card. So he said, I'm going to make Fallen Empire basics, and I got those basics as well, especially for this deck. So I'm quite excited about that to show them to you. And I've also have Fallen Empire sleeves. So I went all the way. If you want to know more about those basic lands, by the way, I show them in a mail day video. So I'll make sure there's like an info card popping up, and you can click on there and you can check out that video maybe after this video. So if you want to take a closer look at those basic lands and know the story behind them, then you can check out that video. So, before I move on, I actually first want to discuss this creature really quick with you. This is Varel's Zealot. It looks like a very bad 2/2 for 3. I got you, and it's probably pretty bad, but the ability of this card is pretty funny. So it's a 2/2. Let's say your opponent has a Preacher on the board with Summoning Sickness still. That's the only creature he has. You're attacking with your Varel Zealot. Of course, you don't want to block with your Preacher. You don't want to trade a Preacher for this 2/2 creature. But maybe it's still going to happen because of the ability of Varel Zealot. Because listen up, it reads, whenever this creature attacks and isn't blocked, you may have it deal 3 damage to target creature. If you do, this creature assigns no combat damage this turn. So in other words, if he chooses not to block, I can still kill the Preacher. And the funny thing is this card gets really annoying for your opponent if you also combine it with some pump effects. Because let's say he's got a 2/2 White Knight and you've got one of those Icatian Priests that I just showed you. You're attacking with your Zealot. You've got mana open to make your Zealot a 3/3. You don't want to block on your White Knight, but if you don't do, because he's going to make it 3/3. But if you choose to just take the damage, you're actually not going to take the damage because I can activate the Zealot's ability. So this card, again, it's still pretty bad, but it's not as bad as you think it is. It's actually pretty funny. Hopefully I can show it to you in this match. Talking about that, let's go to the match. Johnny's White Weenie versus my deck, Icatian Infantry. Here we go. Game number 1 here at the Dutch X Points Open. Here we go. So on the left, we've got Johnny. He's playing White Weenie. And on the right, we've got me, and I'm playing Icatian Infantry. And here you can see my opening hand. So, I mean, I saw some lands, some creatures. That's good enough. Pretty slow, though. Here we see Johnny's hand. Oh, talking about slow. A Maze, 3 basics, Disenchant, Divine Offering, and that Preacher. I have to say that Preacher's looking pretty good. But, I mean, this is going to be a slow start of the game, I think. So there's a basic Plains here being played out by me, and I'm passing the turn to Johnny. And there's a Maze. Lots of glare. A little bit surprised that he opens with a Maze here. I think I would have definitely opened with a basic. Not quite sure why he does that. Lots of glare on the card, but we know it's a Maze. And here we see an Icatian Lieutenant. So Icatian Lieutenant, you can pay 2 white, and it can give +1/+0 to a soldier. So it can also pump itself, actually, which is good to know. And there's the pass. There's a Plains. So that Preacher is 2 white and 1, so still needs some more lands if he wants to deploy that one. Also has a Sarah Angel now in hand for 5. There's the attack with the Icatian Lieutenant. There's, of course, the Maze of If activation. So no damage here for Johnny. Tapping 2 more white. And okay, there is an Order of Lightbur, the 2/1 creature that you can give first strike. And you can pump it for 2 white to give it +1/+0. And it's got protection from black. Not relevant in this match though, but in other matches, very, very relevant. And this is a beautiful signed copy, by the way. Got it signed at the Knights of Thorn. Another Dutch old school tournament where there was actually a Magic Artist present, which was pretty cool. And there's another basic Plains being played out by Johnny in a pass. So for now, I'm kind of safe. I can attack with both. And I wonder if I'm going to pump the Lieutenant, because I assume Johnny's going to send back the Order of Lightbur here with the Maze exactly. It's going to take a damage here. Drop to 19. So first blood. Second main, tapping 2 white. There we see another Icatian Lieutenant. And it looks like, by the way, that I'm pretty stuck on mana. I've missed 2 land drops, I believe, here, which is a big problem for my deck, because I actually want to have a lot of lands because of all those pump effects. Another Maze here found from the top. So I'm kind of expecting him to play out another land, but he's going to go for the double Maze. I was really expecting him to go land, play Preacher, the next turn take over one of my creatures. There's the attack with 3 creatures into the red zone. It's going to send back my Icatian Lieutenant and my Order of Lightbur, and I'm going to pump my Lieutenant here. It's going to make it a 2-2. So that's 2 damage here for Johnny. It's going to drop to 17. And I think the problem for me here is that I'm not finding any lands. And Johnny is slowly getting closer and closer to deploying that Serra Angel. But now he's got his 3rd basic, so he can start playing out the Preacher. And this is, of course, a 1-1 from the dark. You can tap Preacher, and then you can take control of a creature of the opponent's choice. And yeah, that's not great for me, because I just want to keep attacking. I'm going to tap a white here. Making some more space. Changing my mind, though. Attacking here with the 2 lieutenants and the Order of Lightbird. Double mace activation. And he's going to take the single damage, I assume, here from the lieutenant. Exactly. Going to drop to 16. Tap a white. Okay, there's an Icatian Infantry. So this is a 1-1 creature. And for 1 you can give it banding. And for 1 you can give it first strike. And I believe this is the art by Christopher Rush. Really love the art in the Fallen Empires. It's just such a beautiful set. When you look at the art and the flavor, it's just amazing. Here's the pass to Johnny. Untap, upkeep, draw. Another Preacher found from the top. Ooh, this could get problematic for me. Need to find some Javelineers to start killing some Preachers. Or, of course, Neopile. Also need lands. I mean, at least Johnny's got 2 Disenchants and a Divine Offering that he can't use. So that's something. It's going to use the Preacher to take over one of my creatures. Wants to choose, but I can actually choose. And I'm going to give him the Icatian Infantry. Still good, though. Because he can give it first strike and banding. And the good thing here for Johnny is he can use this as a blocker. For example, for the Lieutenant, it dies. And he can untap the Preacher and steal something else. So this is really a difficult situation. I think I kind of have to stop attacking for now. There's another Preacher hitting the board. Yeah, this is a problem. Untap, upkeep, draw. Hopefully I can find like an Aeopile. Just something against these Preachers. Going to tap 2, it seems. Going to play another Lieutenant. Okay. Oh, and Ruins of Troycar. That's the sack land. At least it's lands, but it comes to play tapped. You can tap it for 1 white, and you can also tap and sack it for 2 white. There's the untap, so it looks like he wants to give it back. No, he's going to keep it tapped. Okay, yeah, that seems to make more sense. And I mean, what I really like about Preacher is that he can just attack with the infantry if he wants to. I mean, I guess he wants to use it as a blocker now. Okay, there's a Crusade. Also has that Army of Allah. But my point is, if he would attack with the 1-1, and I would just take the damage. Because if I block it, it dies and he can start stealing something else. Anyways, first using his other Preacher, I have to give him one of my creatures. Going to give him my Icatian Lieutenant. So now he can use his Lieutenant to actually pump the infantry that he stole from me. So yeah, it's looking pretty bad for me at the moment. Also because we know that Johnny has that Serra Angel. So he can just, you know, go on defense and wait for the moment where he gets land number 5 and just slam that Serra Angel on the table. And at this point in the tournament, by the way, because we're now in round 3, I lost my first 2 matches, but they were pretty close though. I lost them both 2-1. And the nice thing about the Swiss is that you're then also playing against a player that also lost 2 matches. So here we see Pharaoh's Zealot. So this is the 2-2. And this is a funny thing I did sometimes at the tournament. I would put my hand in front of the text box and say, okay, tell me what it does. Kind of to test their knowledge. And guess what? I think nobody knew what Pharaoh's Zealot did. So this is a 2-2, right? And when it's not blocked, you can choose to not let it do combat damage. Instead, you can deal 3 damage to any target. I have to say, I just had a lot of fun this tournament. It was so funny. And the people were so friendly. There was just a lot of banter and, you know, of course, some healthy drinking going on. It was fun. But I'm now passing the turn here to Johnny. And I guess I thought Johnny already took his turn and Johnny thought that I was still thinking about my turn. Kind of funny. So there was a little bit of a standstill there on the line, and Johnny here finding in Savannah lines from the top. So yeah, that's pretty decent, I guess. Can do no harm. Still looking for land number 5, of course, for that Serra Angel. That's what he really wants. So he's going to tap a white. And is he going to deploy that lion? I mean, it would make sense, right? Or does he want to attack first? Oh, look at this. It looks like he's going to attack, actually. Oh, he's going to give it banding. He's going to attack in a band. Okay, fair enough. What does he want to do? Does he want to play out the Army of Allah, maybe? I'm just taking the damage, though. So just taking 2 points of damage. Looks like he is going to pump it. So I guess he gave it first strike and banding, maybe, because he tapped 2 lands earlier. Anyway, just taking the damage. Going to go to 17. I mean, I'm still pretty high in life, so no need to block. Just remember, if I block, yeah, and now I can attack, of course, because he's tapped out. So I think this decision is a poor one. I would definitely send back the Zealot. Let's see if he does it. I mean, if he doesn't, I'm going to kill one of those preachers. And this is the advantage when you're playing with cards that your opponent doesn't know about. Yeah, you made the right decision, Johnny. Well done. Sometimes, you know, because they don't know the cards, they make the mistake. And then I could have killed one of the preachers. That would have been epic. But didn't happen. Going to tap 3 white. What are you going to see for 3? And, ooh, a Zillion Sword. So look at that. Again, doing it in my hand in front. Taking it away pretty quickly, though. So you can tap this to give target creature +2/+0. And you can keep the Zillion Sword tapped so that the bonus remains. So it's kind of an early equipment card. And of course that works really well with a card like Order of Lightbird because that creature has first strike. And I mean, Johnny dropped now to 14. So I think that attack was the wrong thing to do. But it's not too bad when you've got 2 mazes. I mean, you don't take that much damage. And he's going to tap 2. Is he going to... Yeah, going to deploy the Order of Lightbird. So 2/1 creature. I've got the same card on my side of the battlefield. Also going to deploy the Savannah Lions. And I think this is a good decision for Johnny. I mean, he can just take it easy, right? And next turn he could decide to just start attacking again with the creatures he stole from me, because now he's got 2 mazes and he's got 2 creatures to block with as well. It looks like I'm going to read the card here. And of course, you know, with this deck, you know, the Fallen Empires deck, I was really trying to just maximize my plays and really trying to get the best out of it. Going to tap a white. Okay, there we see the Icatian Javelineer. So this is great. I mean, Icatian Javelineer is a 1/1 creature, comes into play with 1 Javelin counter, and you can tap it, take the Javelin counter away, deal 1 damage to any target, which of course is ideal against Preacher because Preacher is a 1/1. So I can start killing one of the Preachers. Ooh, there's an Armageddon. Yeah, Armageddon, not really good at this stage in the game for Johnny because, I mean, it'll destroy his own mazes. I mean, he can do it, but I think it's not in his best interest. But it's worth a think, of course. I think if you're Johnny, you're still really waiting for that 5th mana. Looks like he's going to pay 1. Is he going to now ban? It's always kind of hard when we don't have audio. Like, is he now banning the Icatian Infantry with the Order of Lightbird? Would be pretty strategical. Kind of like it. He is paying 1 though, so I assume he's banned those 2 creatures. Also attacking with the Lion. Not quite sure why he attacks with the Lion, because it is just a 2/1. So I'm going to give first strike to my Order of Lightbird, block the Savannah Lions, and just take the other damage. So that's 3 damage here. Does he want to play out the Army of Allah, perhaps? I mean, does mean 4 extra points of damage, but he's also going to lose his Lion. I mean, he can take the Lion out of combat as well with the mazes, of course. So there's the attack. So the 1/1 becomes a 3/1, and the Order becomes a 4/1. So I do take 7 points, which is substantial, dropping to 10. I think it's always easy when you look back at these things in hindsight. I think there would have been a better moment maybe for the Army of Allah, you know, play. I think it's a bit early. There is an order of Ruins of Troyker. So starting to find some lands here, which is good news. And now I'm in the tank, of course, because I can consider attacking. I could kill the Preacher that has the untapped Icatian Lieutenant. Then I get the Icatian Lieutenant back. He no longer has that blocker. And I think that's exactly what I'm going to do. So I'm going to kill the Priest. And that means I'm going to get back my 1/2 Lieutenant. And now I can start attacking. Lieutenant, of course, has Summoning Sickness again, so I cannot attack with that. But, I mean, I can attack here with the Zealot. Ooh, and if he cannot... Oh, but he's going to, of course, maze the Zealot. Ah, it's too bad he's got those mazes. It's very unfortunate. So probably just going to send back the Zealot and the Order of Lightbird here. I mean, if he doesn't... Oh, he's going to read it again. Don't read it, Johnny. Just take the damage from the order from the Pharaoh Zealot. Oh, too bad. It would be so funny to see it in action, though. There's the attack. So he's going to take 2. I can pump, of course. Decide not to. He's going to drop to 12. I also have the sword that I can use, but also decide not to, it seems. Or maybe I'm still a little bit in the tank here. So I guess I've got other creatures to play. And this is so interesting with the deck I was playing, because you can use the mana in so many ways. You can use it to pump creatures, you can use it to prevent damage, you can use it for the sword, but of course you also have cards in hand, so you got to think what you want to play out. Do you want to commit fully on the board? I mean, you are playing against mono white, you got to worry a little bit about balance, got to worry a little bit about perhaps a Wrath of God. So just a lot of interesting moments here to make decisions. And on the other hand, this is an opportunistic deck, so if you see a hole in the wall, I guess you got to go for it because your deck's quite weak. So anyway, going to tap 3 lands here, 3 white in the pool. Let's see what I can do with 3 white. I mean, I've got Pharaoh Zealot at 3. I've got Combat Medic at 3. Those are kind of the cards that pop into my mind. I do see Combat Medic there. Yeah, so Combat Medic hitting the board. Look at that again, putting the hand in front. I have to say it was fun playing against John. We had a lot of fun. And it was an interesting match as well. So this is an 0-2, and I can pay a white and a 1 to prevent 1 damage to any target or any creature or player. So it's pretty good in combat. It's going to make the combat math slightly more complicated. And now it's untap, upkeep, draw. And now do remember, John still has... Oh, there's land number 5. He still has that Serra Angel in hand. He can now play out the Serra Angel. That is a problem for me, because I'm on 10. That is not great. Gonna tap 5. Oh, I think this Serra is gonna give him the victory. I mean, there are a few cards I have. Like I've got Hand of Justice in the deck, so if I have a Hand of Justice that I can play. I mean, and of course, I mean, for me, the fact that he's playing the Serra Angel means that I have to start getting more aggressive. I don't have the luxury of waiting anymore. I'm on 10. The Serra Angel is a 3-turn clock. End of story. So the good news for me, though, is that at least John is not on 20 anymore. He's on 12. The bad news for me is that he's also got 2 mazes. So it's going to be tough. But, you know, I have to try. If I do nothing, I'm just going to die to the Serra. So it's going to be tricky. Found another land, by the way. And you can see my pose. I'm really in the tank right now. Really thinking. And I just remember that I really enjoyed this match because of the combat math. You know, the Preacher made it more complex. The mazes made it more complex. The fact that he now has that Serra on the board makes it more complex. I've got quite some cards in my hand. I've got the sword. Oh, look at this. For Icatia. There I go. Full on strike. Keeping my Icatian Infantry at bay. Maybe you're wondering why. Because I'm thinking if the Icatian Infantry that John has, like my creature that he stole with the Preacher, if he uses it kind of as a chump blocker, I can give him that Icatian Javelineer afterwards if he uses his Preacher again. So that's why I'm keeping that creature at bay. He's going to send back the Zealot, and he's going to send back the Order of Lightburn. Now he's got 3 lieutenants. Let's see what he's going to do with it. I'm, of course, hoping that he's going to block on the Serra Angel. And I'm also pointing out that I've got the Combat Medic to prevent damage. Ooh, he's going to use it as a blocker. Oh, I think this is what I wanted to happen. Because then I think I can pump it also together with the sword. And then I can kill the Serra Angel. This could be devastating for John here. It is difficult for John to navigate, by the way, because I can, of course, use the sword afterwards. So now blockers are declared. I'm going to use the sword. Yep. That's going to be enough to kill the Angel. Ho, ho, ho. Going to tap my 2 orders, or my ruins. Yeah, exactly. So the sword's going to give it +2/+0. And I'm going to make it a 4-2. Yeah, which is enough to kill the Serra Angel. So I'm trading a Serra Angel for a lieutenant. Yeah, this is pretty devastating for John and great for me. On the other hand, you know, if he blocks nothing, he is on... well, he was on 12. You know, you also have to think how much damage can I take. But Yeah, I think you're kind of forced not to block with the Sarah because you really didn't want to lose that creature here. And now it's actually looking really good for me again. I would have definitely blocked with the Icatian Infantry that he stole from me. Okay, there we see now the Divine Offering. So he's going to gain life here, which is pretty sweet for John. He's going to go back up to 13. But the damage already has been done, of course. And I mean, I've used the sword to slay an angel. That is pretty flavorful. Don't underestimate Zillion's sword. Yeah, John is now a little bit in trouble. I mean, the good news for John is that he still has that Icatian Infantry, which he can just use as a chump blocker. I was really surprised in the previous combat exchange that he didn't use the Icatian Infantry. Because remember, when it dies, he can just untap his Preacher and steal something new from me. That's why Preacher is so annoying to play against. Gonna tap 4, gonna sack. Okay, I've got 6. Do I have Hand of Justice? Hand of Justice! Oh, this is so cool. This, I think now we're gonna see the tipping point in the game. Hand of Justice, a 2/6. I can tap the hand and 3 untapped white creatures, obviously. And then I can kill any creature of my opponent. So, I mean, this was the one creature that I always wanted to pull out of a Fallen Empire's booster. This was such a chase card at the time. And I can use it, of course, to first kill the Preacher. And John here asking about it. It's going to read it. I mean, John just needs the swords. He needs the swords to Plowshares, kill the thing, move on with your life. But he doesn't find the swords here. Icatian Javelineer. And I mean, I would just play it out. But it's looking very bad for John now because of this Hand of Justice. Lost the Sarah Angel and now the hand is on the board as well. It's interesting how this game kind of flipped here. Because the moment that John played out that Sarah Angel, I was like, oh, this is really a big problem. I'm on 10. But now the Sarah's gone and the Hand of Justice is there on my side of the board. And it's looking very good for me. Attacking here with the Order of Lightbur. I mean, could consider jumping here with my own Icatian Javelineer. That's exactly what I do here. Is giving it first strike. It's going to die. I mean, he also could have chosen to just take the damage, but he can pump it up to what? 4 or 5? 4, I guess. Would go to 6. And he's going to take it out of combat afterwards with the mace. And there's the pass. And I'm now kind of in that mode where I have the luxury now to kind of wait. There's no pressure on my life total. Playing out another Plains. And activating the Hand of Justice here. Going to kill the Icatian Infantry. And the reason, of course, the Javelineer, sorry. The reason to do that, of course, is that I want to keep my Order of Lightbur around. Going to tap 5. Oh, there's Icatian Phalanx. This is huge. This is a 2/4 creature with banding. It's really hard to get rid of. Passing the turn back. Yeah, so exactly. I'm not going to play that more controlling game, right? I've got time enough. I'm going to slowly kill the creatures of John, and then I'm going to start attacking. Now we're going to have to wait and see. I mean, if he has a swords would really be good for him. You know, just swordsing the hand. So finding another Plains. It's a little bit flooded here. The 2 disenchants do nothing. Crusade does nothing. Armageddon does nothing. So his hand is really bad at the moment. He is attacking here with the Order. So I wonder what I'm going to do here. I think this is a good attack by John, by the way. Because he's got lots of lands. Looks like I'm going to go and block in a huge band. So it's a 2/4, a 2/2, and a 2/1 in a huge band. So remember, with banding, I can choose how the damage is divided. And I guess I can just put everything on the Zealot, right? So he's going to pump it. It becomes a 3/1. It becomes a 4/1. It becomes a... You could make it a 5/1. It becomes a 5/1 first strike. So I need to divide 5 points of damage. Could just put all the damage on the Zealot. So putting all the damage here on the Zealot. So the 2/2 is going to die. And this doesn't work, though, if he wants to do this. Because then he takes it out of combat before... Yeah, I could do that. Because first strike damage is dealt, then normal damage is dealt. So before the normal damage is dealt, he's taking it out of combat. So this is quite a nice trick here by John. Losing here the Varus Zealot. And I mean, I do need to keep, of course, enough creatures to keep using my Hand of Justice. It's something to keep in mind. I need 3 creatures and the hand itself. Gonna sack the Ruins of Troycar here. Oh, Icatian Town! Oh, this is the dream, man. This is when you're building the deck, you've got a vision, you've got a dream, and this is part of the dream, being able to play Icatian Town together with Hand of Justice. I remember as a little Timmy, because I started playing in 1995, that this was one of the first kind of combos, you know, that people used to play with, and I'm like, oh, how cool would it be to have both cards? That would be so epic. You know, because it was really hard to get cards, you know. So here, of course, using my Icatian Town tokens, my townsfolk, to start killing creatures with the Hand of Justice. Again, very flavorful. So killing the Order of Lightbur, attacking here full on. So attacking for 4/6. Of course, he still has the maze. It doesn't really matter what he mazes here. I mean, I would go, I guess, for exactly the order. You could also go for the phalanx. Doesn't matter much. Going to take 4 damage. Going to drop here to 9. And I mean, yes, this game 1 is taking long, but I'm loving it. I'm loving it, and it's going my way. So I've got no reason to complain. Untap, upkeep, and draw for John here. And again, he didn't chump with his Icatian Infantry, which is kind of weird. I mean, just use it, because you can start untapping your Preacher. I think that's one of the things, maybe that he forgot or didn't realize, that, hey, I can just use that stolen Icatian Infantry as a chump blocker, and then I can keep stealing more creatures. And that also, of course, would have affected my decision whether or not to attack. And again, he's going to attack here, and I think, yeah, probably something I wouldn't have done. I'm blocking here on the O2 Combat Matic, by the way. It's taking it out of combat. Untap, upkeep, draw. And now, of course, I can finally kill the Preacher and get my Icatian Infantry back. That's exactly what I do. So killing the Preacher, going to get my Icatian Infantry back. So it's back on my side. Yeah, and look at this now. The board of John is completely wiped, thanks to my Hand of Justice. And now I can go in. Let's attack, people. Full on attack. Also attacking with my 1/1 citizen token. Sending back the Order of Lightbur. So we're looking at 5 points of damage. I can also pump. So let's make that 7 points of damage. That means he's going to drop, I believe, to 2. Yeah. Oh, man. This is bad for John. Needs a miracle. That's not a miracle. That's, I believe, an Order of Lightbur. And that's it. We're shaking hands. It's just game 1, though. But he's already shaking hands, but it's just game 1. So now both of us are going to dive into our sideboards. Guess what? I don't have a sideboard, but John's going to dive into his sideboard. And we will catch back up with you in game number 2. Game number 2. Here we go. So it's 1 up for me, meaning John's on the play. He's drawing his first 7. I'm drawing my first 7. Let's see if we can keep our hands. We were both playing mono-colored, so usually you can kind of keep your starting hand. Well, there are always exceptions, though. There's 1 Plains, Strip Mine there for John. 2 Savannah Lions, so, I mean, you can work with that hand, I guess. Here we see my hand. 2 basics, and we also have some 1-drops. Icatian Javelineers, Icatian Infantry, a Icatian Phalanx. I mean, both of our hands are looking, you know, pretty decent. I guess you can keep it. Bad news for John here is, yes, he's got the lines, but I've got that Icatian Javelineer, so that could be an issue for John. I actually wonder if I'm going to use my Icatian Javelin counter on the lines. So I'm going to start with the basic Plains, tap in and play Savannah Lines turn 1. I also have a turn 1 play. There's my Icatian Javelineer, turn 1, 1/1. We've seen it in game 1 as well. Comes into play with that Javelin counter, making it pretty good against the lines, but also against Preacher. So I'm kind of thinking maybe I should keep it for a potential Preacher later in the game. And one of the things that John can do is just play quick swords on the Icatian Javelineer, so I cannot use him for the Javelin counter, and then of course attack with a line. It could be a line, We first see the strip mine being played out. So lots of interesting decisions here to make. For John could also decide to, for example, strip my basic planes to kind of slow me down. Looking again here at the Icatian Javelineer, which I believe he was playing himself as well, but maybe I'm mistaken. There's another line, okay. And he's going to strip the planes. And he's not attacking. Interesting, because I think I wouldn't have traded here because I want to keep the Javelin counter. And I'm playing an Icatian Infantry, so 1/1, and again I can give it first strike for 1 or banding for 1. And of course the first strike ability is very relevant. Don't have any lands though to activate it at the moment. There's another plane found by John. I mean, could go super aggressive here, right? Could even decide to swords my 1/1. I mean, the thing is, if you now... Exactly, there's the attack. So one of the things I could do is block with my Icatian Javelineer, use the counter on the other line, basically have a 2-for-1. But I'm not sure. Yep, that's exactly what I'm going to do. What I wanted to say is, like, I'm not sure if I want to lose my Javelin counter because it's so good against the Preachers later in the game. But I guess I'm just thinking about value at this moment. It's a good 2-for-1, killing both of the lines. And no creatures in hand here for John. So that's good news for me. Attacking here with the 1/1. I wonder if I found some lands from the top because I started with 2 basics. So attacking here with my 1/1. Gonna put John here on 19. Gonna tap for more creatures. Another Icatian Infantry. And pass turn. Missing a land drop. That's pretty tough. Ooh, White Knight. Yeah, this White Knight is really good. 2/2 first striker. Yeah, that's gonna stop my army. That is unfortunate here for me. And I really need to find lands. If I cannot find lands, the second game could be over soon. And the strip mine was so good for John. Making that decision to strip. Not waiting. Being quite aggressive with the strip was good. There's another planes. Also has that Army of Allah in hand. Of course, no need to play it now. But it's a good pump effect. And he is going to swords, which is not necessary. It's not necessary to swords here. There's the attack with the 2/2. Because, I mean, if I have 2 lands, yes, there's a reason to swords because I can give them both first strike and I can do a 2-for-1 against the knights. Even then, you can think, okay, it's a 2-for-1, it's fine. But then I can see a swords being useful. But at this case, I wouldn't have used the swords. It's such a good card for later in the game. If I would have used the swords, I would have used it earlier in the game, actually, to kill the Javelineers. But anyway, it is what it is. We do see the attacker again with the White Knight and his Savannah lines hitting the board. And I have to say, John is still in a very good position. I'm on 17. I really need lands. Okay, there's a land finally. So maybe I can now play out a 2-drop. I've got quite a lot of those. Of course, Order of Lightbur being the best 2-drop, I guess. Also have Icatian Lieutenant. There's an Order of Lightbur, 2/1. Protection from black, 1 white first strike, 2 white +1/+0. So I can exchange it later for the White Knight. There's a Sarah Angel from the top for John. And I mean, that line is looking so bad in this matchup because so many of my creatures have first strike. I mean, I don't know the sideboard of John, but I would be tempted to kind of even take out the Savannah lines in this matchup. So looking at his hand, gonna attack here with both. And I think this is a good decision, by the way, because Savannah lines is, because I don't have any mana, I mean, to give my creatures first strike. Gonna take the damage here, gonna drop to... Oh, there's Army of Allah. Oh, it's gonna deal 4 extra points of damage. Gonna take 8 points of damage here, dropping to 9. Oh, this game could be over very soon here. I really need lands. The first game, of course, was very long, very grindy. Okay, finding a Runes of Troika. I'm not dead yet, of course. Still have 9. Passing the turn, realizing I need to go on defense. Yeah, and I think here the White Knight's still pretty good for John because you can... Oh, there's a swords. Oh, this is so good. So good for John finding that swords. I would be... Okay, he's going to attack with both. Playing very aggressive here. Maybe waiting for me to declare attackers, then using the swords. I would wait for blockers, to be honest. We're going to give it first strike. Now he's going to kill The Order of Library. Yeah, I think I would have waited to see the blocks. And I also think I wouldn't have attacked. I wouldn't have attacked with the lion, I think. Because now you're losing the line basically for nothing, right? What's the value of the line in this exchange? Going to drop to 9. There's the pass. But the White Knight's still standing strong. And if John can find land number 4 and can deploy that Armageddon, that would be quite good. Finding another land, by the way, tapping 2 white. Do I have perhaps another Order of Lightbird? There's an AO pile. Going to use the AO pile. Yeah, and here we see John. I remember this moment. John's going to use the disenchant in response on the AO pile. The problem is that the effect is already on the stack. So even if he uses disenchant, it doesn't stop the effect. And you can see me actually leaving the table because what I did, I wasn't 100% sure. And we always have like judges around and they're actually playing in the tournament as well, but they're all judges. So usually you ask rules questions like this to a judge. And that's where the judge said, yeah, okay, he can disenchant, but it's already on the stack. So it will still happen. So it's not going to help. So this AO pile being pretty important for me because it's going to kill the White Knight here. And kind of bringing me back into the game. And I am back, and it's exactly the way that I thought it was going to work. So because the AO pile effect is already on the stack, there's nothing really you can do against it. It's kind of like a Nevinyrral's Disc and a disenchant. And remember Chaos Orb, because maybe you're thinking about Chaos Orb here. Chaos Orb has a special errata, so that's specially changed to make it work so you can respond to it with your disenchant or shatter, but it doesn't count for these artifacts. And that's, of course, too bad for John, because, again, he's got like a dead disenchant in hand here. So the White Knight's gone. Now John's slowly going to take some damage, so maybe I can turn the second game around. It was looking pretty bad for me, but now I can fight my way back. There's a Feral Zealot, a 2-2. Also tapping the Runes of Troycar for an Icatian Priest, a 1-1. And for 2 white and 1, you can give target creature +1/+1. Yeah, the Varus Zealot is back again. I think if you're John, you got to hope for a balance. You know, that would be, of course, quite good. Also, just land so you can deploy that Serra Angel. Icatian Javelineer, not too bad. Because it can kill at least one of the creatures and also be a blocker later in the game. So 1-1, coming into play with that Javelin counter. And I guess that's all that he can do. Has 2 Serra Angels in hand, a Disenchant and an Armageddon. Drawing for turn here. And remember, John has to win this, already a game behind. Oh yeah, and this is where the Varus Zealot actually shines. Because if John decides not to block the Zealot, I'm going to kill the Icatian Javelineer with the Zealot. So he kind of has to block the Feral Zealot here. Oh man, this is so annoying for John. Here you can see the Feral Zealot really shine. That weird ability. I guess the best thing he can do is just jump the 2-2. And I believe that's what he does. So it just takes 2 damage. I can, of course, choose to pump if I want to. Just going to take the 2. Is he going to drop? Okay, going to drop to 13, it seems. And, oh, there's another Zealot and another Icatian Priest. I just keep playing out creatures. I mean, that's something that my deck's good at. Playing out lots of creatures. It's really a swarm strategy. And, okay, there we see a land tax. Okay, so land tax is actually going to help him. The problem is it's slow. He's on 13. He's looking at how much damage? 4, 5, 6, 7 points of damage, I believe, if I don't pump. Probably just going to attack with the entire team. Exactly. Yeah, so looking at 7 damage, and I can pump it, potentially make it 8. So it's going to take 7. And it would drop to 6, I believe. Exactly. Going to go to 6. Second main. Second to Ruins. 5 in the pool. Okay, there's an Icatian Phalanx. 2-4. More pressure on the board. Yeah, the thing is, what John now needs, his only out here is that balance. Oh, also forgetting his land tax trigger. Oh, and he can't because I sacked the Orders of Troycar, of course. Ah, that's why I sacked the land, so he doesn't have the land tax trigger. Making it even harder for him to find anything. Oh, I think he's dead. I think he's dead. Am I going to win this 2-0? I mean, it looks like it. There's nothing he can do. Disenchant, Armageddon, 2 Serras. I mean, he can Armageddon, but how's that going to help him? It's going to actually set him back further. He's on 6. Looks like he is going to Armageddon, because why not? So he's just going to play Armageddon. I mean, I like that, John. If you're going to die, just die in style. Play Armageddon, you know, whatever. Passes the turn here. There's the attack. That's it. Winning the game here. Winning the match. Yeah, I'm so happy with this. It's so cool. And shall I tell you a little secret? I won one match this entire tournament, and that's the match you just saw. That's the match that was on stream. And of course, I couldn't be happier, because, I mean, if you get to choose, okay, you're only going to win one match with your flavor deck. What is it going to be? Well, I would have chosen this one, the match that you play on the stream. And I want to thank John for being a good sport. And yeah, it was fun. You were a great opponent. And yeah, I'm happy that I got to show Icatian Infantry. The deck is actually not that bad. It's pretty good. But like I said in the deck section, if you don't have a disenchant against certain decks, you just don't stand a chance. And I mean, the removal when you're playing Fallen Empires only is very limited. The way you can deal with flying creatures is super limited. Remember, no flyers in the set. But I got a lot of like 2-1 matches, because the deck still, it has that swarm strategy. You can just play a lot of creatures. That's what you saw here in the match against John as well. And later in the game, when you're mana flooded, it actually doesn't matter, because you've got so many of those pump effects and, you know, so many combat tricks with this deck. It's quite nice to play. It's very strategical. So yeah, I had fun at the tournament, and I actually won the Spice Prize. So I'm super proud of that. It's the first Spice Prize that I've ever won in like the modern Old School, the way we play Old School now. And maybe you're surprised, but you have to realize there are so many cool creative brewers in Old School, so you can bring a really cool deck. Doesn't mean you're necessarily going to win the Spice Prize. So I'm still very proud and humbled that I got the Spice Prize. So thank you to the judges of the X Points Open. That also included, of course, Louis and his brother Jeff. So thank you for giving me that Spice Prize. It's got a significant place in my very you know, small, modest prize binder, you know, where I keep all like little trophies that I've won. So thank you very much. And of course, there's going to be more action upcoming from the Dutch X Points Open. And next week I have this match coming for you. So we've got a Troll Disco deck, and that is taking on a pretty cool enchantment deck that's playing Skull of Orm. Skull of Orm is another one of those cards that I really love. So a deck that plays Skull of Orm, Underworld Dreams, I believe also land text. It's just lots of enchantments. So this is going to be really interesting, but that's all coming up next time. Now, if you want to make sure you don't miss that, hit that subscription button and ring that bell. Because if you do, you will be notified whenever I post new content. And also, of course, if you want to support the show, there are 3 really simple things you can do. You can like, share, and comment on this video. All these things are free and really help the channel move forward. Talking about moving forward, you can also become a patron of the show. Check out patreon.com/TimmyTalks to find out how you can support the channel. For now, thank you very much for watching, and see you next time.
What shall we do with the drunken sailor? What shall we do with the drunken sailor? What shall we do with the drunken sailor? Early in the morning, way hey and up she rises, way hey and up she rises, way hey and up she rises. Early in the morning, put him in the longboat until he's sober. Put him in the longboat until he's sober. Put him in the longboat until he's sober. Early in the morning, way hey and up she rises, way hey and up she rises. She rises early in the morning. Pull out the plug and wet him all over. Pull out the plug and wet him all over. Pull out the plug and wet him all over. Early in the morning. Way hey up she rises. Way hey up she rises. Way hey up she rises early in the morning. What shall we do with the drunken sailor? What shall we do with the drunken sailor? Put him in the scout to the husband, son. Put him in the scout to the husband, son. Put him in the scout to the husband, son. Early in the morning, way hey up, she rises, way hey up, she rises, way hey up, she rises early in the morning.
Icatus, Ficatus, Somba, Kazee.